everyone, and welcome to our information webinar series where we're going to be talking about the programming and so on at the ISDJ. I am going to turn you over to Pam, who's going to be moderating today's session to do the proper welcome. Over to you, Pam.
Thank you, Sonia, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Since we have persons from across the globe, I'm trying to make sure everybody gets a proper welcome. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Pamela Eversley. I'm your Customer Experience and Business Development Lead here at the International School for Development Justice. I am located in Barbados. Please put in the chat where you're joining us from. We'd be happy to welcome you officially from your country of residence. So before we jump into our formal presentation, I wanted to acknowledge something. You're here because you care about making a difference. Maybe you're working in sustainability and you want to take your career to the next level. Maybe you're in a different field, but feel that you're called to work in the world's most pressing challenges. Or maybe you're not even sure yet. You just know something needs to change. Whatever brought you here, you're in the right place this morning, this afternoon, or this evening. So here's what we know. Companies and governments and NGOs have made massive commitments to sustainability and climate action. But research from the World Economic Forum 2025 shows that 94% of them lack the people with the right skills to deliver on those promises. And that gap, that's your opportunity. ISDJ was created specifically to address this. We're the world's first business school entirely focused on sustainable development and justice, on the Sustainable Development Goals and development justice. We're backed by the United Nations and funded by an Inter-American Development Bank. But we're also part of the University of the West Indies, the Caribbean's leading university with 75 years of proven excellence. Today, I'm going to show you, or my team and I will show you 5 pathways to becoming one of those professionals the world desperately needs. We'll talk about our programs, what makes the UWI ISDJ unique, and practical details of how to apply, and how you can be part of our founding cohort. We'll take questions at the end, but please use the chat and the Q&A if something comes up while we are doing our presentation. Before we start our presentation, I want to introduce you to 3 unique individuals who are with us. We have our Deputy CEO and Chief Operations Officer, Dr. Cheryl Slowly. Cheryl is joining us from the beautiful island of Jamaica. We also have Sonia Mahan. Sonia is our Chief Academic Affairs Officer, and our Dwayne Kildare. Dwayne is our Chief Information Officer here at the ISDJ. Cheryl, Dr. Slowly, would you like to say a few words to our persons who are with us today?
Good morning, everyone from beautiful and sunny Jamaica. We thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to our presentations to be made and trust that at the end of our presentations, you will all be signing up to pursue one of these very, very marketable programs that are being offered by the ISDJ. Thank you so much for coming, and I will not detain you further. Back to you, Miss Eversley. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Slowly. And with that said, I will turn you over to our Chief Academic Affairs Officer, Ms. Sonia Mahan, and Sonia will take you through our presentation for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you for that wonderful welcome. Thank you, Dr. Sully, for those opening remarks. And we're going to get into the meat of the matter. As Pamela promised, this is what we're going to be looking at today. And she already did a great job of introducing the topics. Why ISDJ? Why should you trust us? Why should you come in and partner with us? And we're going to talk about that, our graduate programs that are available for applications, and what that process will look like, the requirements for applying for our programs are. And just because you are here today, an exclusive offer just for you for attending today's session. So as Pamela said, the ISDJ is created to provide the solution to this challenge. We are committed to building legacy, to ensuring the sustainability of our individual families, our businesses, our relations with other organizations, the things that we are passionate about. We want those to be generational. We want those to live on way beyond we are here on the planet. And therefore, how do we fill the gap between making that lasting legacy difference from where we sit and where we are now? So that's the challenge that Pamela described earlier. Many of you are already in careers, many of you already is in careers successfully, and you want to infuse what you are doing, you're planning your short, medium, and long-term careers, and you want to make a lasting impact. How can you do that when you're already committed to your organizations, to the responsibilities that you have, to the commitments that you are pursuing? How can you pivot? How can you retool? How can you enhance your qualifications so that you can make that meaningful impact, so that you can make that career jump in some cases while you are where you are? And that's where the ISDJ comes in. As it says here, how do you then get to certify or qualify with qualifications that are respected globally while you have all the commitments that you currently have? The solution, the International School for Development Justice, which was created just for this. We are endorsed by the so for credibility, we are endorsed by the United Nations for the SDG leadership education. Those are the Sustainable Development Goals. We are part of the University of the West Indies, which has a proven track record. We have served the Caribbean region and beyond for over 75 years, so we are beyond mature now. We are not a startup. We are not now new to the space. We are well known within the region for the excellence with which we serve the region, and as I said, beyond. And we have proven expertise in the sustainable as a small island development states, as representing small island developing states. We have a proven track record. Our credentials are known worldwide, whether they are credentials from the undergraduate, postgraduate, or professional development, we are known. And finally, globally recognized. The Times Higher Education has impact ranking for the SED partnerships has us at 100%. And while you can't get higher than 100%, neither do we sit on our laurels and just assume that that is going to remain where it is. We remain deeply committed to ensuring that we make that lasting impact, particularly in this space of which we speak. So when we talk about why us again, we were created to be the world's first global business school dedicated exclusively to SDG leadership. So that is our focus. That is our specialization. That is what we are passionate about. That's where our blinkers are. Looking and even beyond SDG, looking towards sustainability and infusing sustainability, ensuring that you are tooled or retooled in various disciplines where sustainability is at the core of the programming. We recognize that you have commitments. So the ISDJ model is flexibility. Each of our programs, each of the courses within our programs are built with an asynchronous online model. That means that within the time that each course is available, and we do offer our programming in 8-week blocks. I'll speak about that in just a moment. In 8-week blocks. Within that block, you are not scheduled to meet at a particular date and time, say like Tuesday 5 to 7 or Wednesday 8 to 8, depending on your locale, or Wednesday 6 to 9. You are not committed to having, or you're not required to meet to a particular schedule within the course when the course is available or the course is accessible. You therefore can set your own schedule within the course. And that's what we mean by flexibility. So the asynchronous online model allows you to integrate, to add in, not as an add-on, but to add in your academic journey with your other responsibilities according to your flexibility, according to your own schedule. And as said before, we are globally relevant, not only endorsed by the United Nations, but also funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. So that's a bit about ISDJ and where we sit, why we were founded, what is our reason to be? Our reason to be is you. Our reason to be is to be a partner with you as you set out on this journey to qualifying and certifying in the area of sustainability. That's why we're here. As I said, or has been mentioned, we are part of the UWI system with a proven excellence in graduate education. We have had over UWI has had over 50,000 graduates worldwide. So while we serve the Caribbean, we also have graduates that not only originate from the region, but originate from different areas around the world. And the vision statement for the UWI talks about being rooted in the Caribbean, but having global impact. And that's what we are. We are the premier university in the region, as recognized by Time Higher Education as well. And with the Global Campus, which is one of our 5 campuses, again, proven track record, not promised, but proven with over 20 years of online learning excellence. Global recognition, ranked again as the #1 university here in the Caribbean, and we have known strategic partnerships globally, including the UN and the IDB as well. So you are partnering with somebody, with an institution that has a proven track record, as I said, proven, not promise, in the digital space and backed by the credibility and the accreditation of the UWA. So let's take a look at what our product offerings are, what our programs are. At the postgraduate level, we do post all of our programs are at the postgraduate level. There are 3 options. If we start from the bottom and then come up rather than reading it top down, our postgraduate offerings start with the postgraduate certificate, which can be completed in as little as 5 months. So that duration, or if you're going right through without taking any breaks, part-time, it can be 9 months. So what do I mean the difference between full-time and part-time? If you're going through our programming full-time, it means that you're going to be taking 2 of those courses concurrently. You're going to be pursuing 2 courses at a time within the 8-week block. If you're taking our programming part-time, it means you're taking it sequentially, 1 course at a time. So in terms of duration, you can be recognized as having completed the requirements for the postgraduate certificate in as little as 5 months if you're pursuing it 2 courses at a time. Our postgraduate diplomas, the duration for that is between 9 months if you're pursuing it full time, again, in 2 course blocks, or if you are pursuing it sequentially, you're pursuing it part-time, 1 course at a time, you can be completed in as little as 14 months. And our top offering, the Master of Science, which is that full MSc degree, can be completed in as little as 14 months full-time, or 24 months if you're again pursuing it 1 course at a time sequentially in those 8-week blocks. So let's take a deeper dive. And as Pamela said, please don't hesitate to put your questions or comments in the Q&A so that we can respond to it. And Pamela will feed me those questions those comments or in need for clarifications as we go through. So let's take a slightly closer look. For the postgraduate certificate, again, I'm going to go bottom up. For the postgraduate certificate, you're talking about 4 courses. You have 4 3-credit courses, and that is that's the requirement for our postgraduate certificate. 12 credits, 4 times 3, 12. So those 12 credits, 4 courses, and you're finished. So again, if you're taking those courses full time or taking this program full time, that means you're going to be doing two blocks of courses, course one and two together in an 8 week duration, a short break, and then courses three and four together. So you're finished in 5 months. Full part-time, it means you would be taking course one, a break, a short break, then course two, a short break, then course three, short break, then course four, as you do the programming sequentially. Now, our options are stackable. So all of what you are doing for the postgraduate certificate is part of the postgraduate diploma. So those four courses that you would have completed form the first four courses of the postgraduate diploma. So imagine yourself, I know the diagram is slightly upside down, but if you imagine yourself stepping up to the postgrad diploma, you've already completed the first four core courses. The postgraduate diploma is seven, the requirements for the postgraduate diploma is 7 courses in total. You've already completed the first four, and now we're going to layer the remaining three. One core, and then you have a choice of two. You have two electives. So you have 7 courses in total. And we're going to go up one. If you came with direct entry into our Master of Science, the 7 courses that you would have completed, 4 that are recognized as the requirements for the postgrad certificate, add another 3, and you finish the program requirements for the postgrad diploma. And now we have the remaining courses, which only our MSc students would be pursuing. So we have 3 more courses. I know it says, right? So we have 4 more courses, and the program structure for the Master of Science would be 6 core. Remember, you've done already 5 from the postgrad diploma. So we're adding 1 more core. You've done 2 electives so far, so we're adding 2 more electives. And then to showcase everything that you've learned to solidify your learning, your new competencies, as I said, your learning, your knowledge, your skills, you're going to be involved in a final 6 credit project that is going to be an applied project in sustainability. That takes various forms. But in terms of duration, you are going to complete this if you're doing, I'm talking about the MSc, 36 credits, 14 months full time. You're going to be stacking, if you're doing it full time, 2 courses at a time as you pursue the program. And then that final project, that 6 credit course, is going to be on its own at the end as you are applying everything, all the learning that has gone before. So in summary, we're talking about our stackable pathways. You can either apply and get direct entry into one of our 3 options. So you can apply and get direct entry to our Master of Science, our postgrad diploma, or our postgrad certificate. Or you can start with our postgrad certificate, progress through the postgrad diploma, and complete with the MSc. Remember, I spoke about flexibility at the beginning. This gives you the flexibility to determine your path, your academic pathway in a way that suits your current situation or suits your current life commitments so that you are successful moving through the program. So whether you're going to be applying for direct entry to one of the postgrad options or ladder up from starting from postgrad certificate and going all the way through, the choice is yours. So let's get into the meat of the matter. Pamela, is there anything I need to address before I move on?
No, I think you're going well.
Okay,
No questions
so
so far.
no open questions at the moment. So the reason we are coming to you this weekend or right now is because our first group of programs, the first 5 that you're seeing here on your screen, are available applications are open until this week and until February 15th for this round of applications. So I'm going to go through a bit about what those first five programs look like: sustainable development and justice, public health and informatics, sustainability and data analytics, climate and sustainable development, and sustainable leadership and development. Those applications are open until February 15th, and we are excited if you're going to be part of this first cohort, as Dr. Sully said. Yes, get on board. But we also have another five coming soon, and that's going to be in gender justice, activism, and sustainable development, global sport, discrimination, and reparative justice, sustainable educational leadership and management, sustainable entrepreneurship and innovation, and sustainable management. So that full suite will be available for application later on, coming pretty soon. The applications opening soon for all 10 of the options that are available here on the screen. But let's get a deeper dive into the ones that are open for application now. Let's start with one of our most popular offerings. This one in public health and informatics. And as the tagline says here, transforming health systems through data. We all around the world, no matter where you are, there was not a part of the world that was not impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And we recognize where some of the deficits were in getting the data and the information that was needed in a form that decision makers could use it to effect decisions quickly, or and not it's not an either or, quickly and effectively in the spaces in which those decisions were necessary. So whether that was just at the clinic level, not undermining what the clinics do, whether that was at the government level when you were having to set policies for the nation, whether that was at the regional level, because we are none of us isolated, as the COVID-19 pandemic showed, getting the right information to the right persons at the right time to make effective decisions showed us where the gaps were. So it's sort of like, how do you test your roof? If your roof is leaking in a rainstorm, the roof looks great when the sun is shining, but you can identify where the problems are when it's raining. And COVID-19 showed us where the gaps were. So public health and informatics, you're going to be, this is not an exhaustive list. You're going to be looking at how health information systems, you're going to be looking at health informatics systems and digital transformation. Because we were not able to be in the physical spaces that we were accustomed to being. How do you get your data to move from paper in a file cabinet, or the data that you need, the records that you need, move from being in just a file cabinet in an office locked up somewhere to being accessible, no, with the right authentication, because security is obviously top of mind. But how do you get access to that data if you're not able to physically access those records? You're talking also about having those large data sets, and how do you tell the story so that those who are at the forefront of setting policy, again, at the different levels, can do so. So data analytics for public health policy modeling and disease surveillance, and health equity and social determinants, and being exposed to health equity and social determinants of health. The most vulnerable among us should also have access to at least the basic care in all of our systems. How do you ensure that? How do you recognize the vulnerable groups in a timely fashion to be able to effect the change that is needed? So the career pathways for those who are coming through our public health and informatics, global health agencies such as WHO, World Health Organization, and PAHO, ministries of health who help set the policy for the nation, digital health startups. Health and wellness are billion-dollar industry, and we are seeing this globally. So being able to supply the capacity, the people power that those startups need in order to either identify the niches that will make them profitable. Or two, if you're in a CSO role or a public health role, be able to serve your communities and international NGOs as well. This, like all of our programming, you're going to hear me say this over and over again, available as one of those three options. Uh, whether it's at the program certificate level, postgraduate certificate level, postgraduate diploma level, or MSc, this is available for entry at any of those points or exit at any of those points as well. As we move on to another one of the ones that have captured your imagination, sustainability and data analytics. And this again, mastering data science for sustainability. No surprise, there is some overlap between this program and public health and informatics. So for this one, you're getting into the weeds. Now you're getting into the black box. If you think of systems, information systems, and so on as black boxes, you're opening the box and seeing all of the frameworks that are within the box that control how that data gets transformed, how that data gets collected, how that data gets transformed to information, how that is presented again to the decision makers. So here you're going to be building new competencies or reinforcing competencies where you're going, yes, this is one that you're going to be doing the coding and the programming. So Python programming and machine learning for the SDGs, ESG reporting and impact measurement as we talk, and let me zoom out of the way, a bit about that in just a moment. Having the data, being able to manipulate the data to transform that data into information is one thing. How do you communicate now to your decision makers who are not programmers, who don't want to be the technical team behind the work that is going on, but has to use that information or use that, how to gain knowledge from that information? You have to therefore, as the technical team, be able to present that in a way that is that you're communicating. And this is where the data visualization and dashboard building comes into play. What is the story that you want to tell? How do you present this information that is dynamic in a volatile environment quite often in a way that your decision makers, whether they're making short, medium, or long-term decisions, can get access to the knowledge embedded in the data sets and the information being generated. And of course, the foundation work for building out those frameworks, econometric analysis for for sustainability. So the ability to not only get the technical skills and competencies, but particularly focus on sustainability. And notice I've evolved from just talking about the SDGs as we approach 2030 in Pamela and team and participants in just 4 years. We are already in 2026. So we're moving beyond just talking about the SDGs and much broader look at sustainability as we are building out those legacy systems for generations to come. So the career paths here, I did promise that we were going to look at ESG a little deeper. So ESGs are the framework for evaluating responsible business practices. Quite often, generations, and particularly not starting, but it really became the focus of millennials, Gen Z, and now we're into Gen Alpha. They don't yet have disposable income, but they're already beginning to make choices as to which businesses they're going to interact with, what products they're going to buy. And it's not only on the quality of the products, but the characteristics, the social responsibility of the organizations that produce the products and services that they're going to use their income to support. So ESG is just a framework for evaluating that. How do you measure your commitment to sustainability within the organizations? And that's what some of the training associated with this particular program is about. So the ESG allows you to measure. If you can't measure it, then you can't make changes to adapt to what the environment requires. Nor can you can talk it, but you can say whatever you want to say. Your marketing materials can say whatever they want to say with the pretty pictures and the great phrases. But I want to see your statements. I want to see the financial reports at the annual reports at the end of the year to see are you actually doing what you say you're going to do or that you say you're committed to doing. And that's where ESG comes in. So, becoming an ESG analyst and providing that capacity to organizations and sustainability data managers as well, working for global agencies such as those agencies associated with the UN and the development banks, whether you're going to be in climate tech and carbon platforms, again, being exposed to what carbon platforms do, which, like the ESG framework, allows you to, those are digital tools that you develop again for measuring, managing, and reducing your carbon footprint and demonstrating to your stakeholders that that's what you're doing, and corporate sustainability officers who ensure that the strategic plans or the tactical and operations of the organization are are compliant. There's the word I want. Compliant with what the organization, the institution, the region has signed on to. So those are quality officers within the organizations. Not an exhaustible list again, but give you some idea of the career paths that you would be upskilling for or that you may be pursuing as well. And we move on to the one that we are really, I mean, we all of them are great. We are really passionate about this one in the region as a not only for the region, for the world as small island developing states. And as a global exemplar of the challenges that affect small island developing states, we have no choice but to know what the challenges are that we are facing. So, no surprise that the UWI has a stellar reputation for leading climate action and resilience. So, this particular program looks at the science of climate change and the gives the credibility and the academic strengthening for developing policy frameworks that will affect not just the locale in which those frameworks are developed, but how can they interact with other jurisdictions which are facing similar challenges as well. Looking at adaptation and resilience strategies for SIDS, again, we live it. Our colleagues in Jamaica would talk about with their most recent, just a few months ago, challenges with Melissa, Category 5 hurricane that took a path that I don't think Dr. Slowly and Dwayne took a path that had never been seen before because hurricanes don't usually follow that path. And unfortunately, this is not going to be the end. This is not going to be a once a century. We anticipate this is not going to be a once a century or once a generational happenstance. We are anticipating that the small islands are going to be the recipient, or we are going to have to face the challenges of climate change more so than any other types of regions in the world. So when we talk about how do we build resilience strategies for us and how do we change the thinking for the financiers, the global financiers, the global wallet holders to make funds accessible for recovery, as we talk about for recovery, mitigation, and being proactive. Therefore, we're talking about green finance and carbon markets. We know that we are not the ones that are the major contributors to the effects of climate change, but we certainly are feeling the effects of climate change more so than anyone else as small island states. So while others have the luxury, while other larger jurisdictions with bigger land masses may have the luxury of having this conversation over decades or even centuries, we in the small islands are recognizing ourselves over the Philippines, the Pacific Islands, Hawaii, the small islands are recognizing the effects of this today. So, how do we future proof? How do we ensure that our voices are heard? And it comes from understanding climate justice, who the vulnerable communities are, and having a voice backed by science, backed by that credibility on the world stage. So, career paths. Sorry, Pamela and colleagues, I started to preach there for a bit. On the world stage, you have career pathways again at the global level, whether it's at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, on climate change, which is the world's primary international treaty for coordinating global action on climate change and therefore working with climate action agencies. Again, none of us are in it alone. Whether it's working at the government, not at the international level, but maybe at the governmental level, working in climate and energy offices at the governmental level, whether it's in the private sector, where you're looking at climate tech companies, providing services to other organizations to be able to do that measurement we spoke about before, or other international development NGOs. This is the program for you. Again, available as the at the master's level, postgraduate level, or postgraduate certificate level. And as we move on to sustainability, development, and justice, where you are championing equitable development. Everything I spoke about before. And now you are really doing a deep dive into those communities. How do you develop policies? Again, at any of those levels, which ensure or try to prescribe equitable development and social justice frameworks that everyone benefits and paying particular attention to those who are most vulnerable in our communities. Having a rights-based approach to policy. So don't treat this as an add-on. So even if it is not about one of the SDGs that one of the 17 SDGs that happen to be listed, that this is not sustainability becomes a way of thinking, a mindset. And I used the word infused earlier, that is infused in everything that is done. So don't treat it as something special as an add-on. And the one analogy that comes to mind is providing ramp access, which serves those who need the ramp access, for those in wheelchairs or who are having mobility issues, but it's provided and anyone can use it. So that the ramp access should not be a add-on because we are catering to a particular community, but as buildings get designed and access points get explored, that it becomes part of the design strategy that ramps will be provided without having to think special, just that we need to provide ramp access for those in our communities that have mobility issues. What if we just think of the design and having that at the core design of the design? And that's what I'm talking about here. Inclusive governance and community empowerment. So training those who have that will be the voice of the communities in which they reside, and gender justice and intersectional sustainability. Again, ensuring equitable development at the community level, at the nation level, at the regional level, at the international level. Career pathways you're seeing on the right, global agencies such as UN agencies, UNDP, UN Women. Within the governmental level, you're talking about social development ministries. And at the regional and even international level, human rights, or at the community level, human rights organizations and community development NGOs. Again, this program available at the MSc diploma and the certificate level. And the last of our suite of 5, sustainability leadership, where we are leading transformational change with, again, that's focus on sustainability. So, here you're going to be exposed to strategic leadership for sustainable transformation. And we all know the concept of digital transformation, making data, information, and services more accessible to the community. Again, here, infusing the organization from top down and from bottom up, with sustainability being part of the remit not something special that sits outside. And that calls for the mindset change from the leaders within the organization. I just want to pause here for a moment. Leadership does not necessarily, leaders do not reside only at the strategic level of the organization. Leadership is a mindset. You can lead from where you are. And as you aspire to ascend and develop in your career and climb the ladder, it doesn't mean that the leadership mindset, that those skills, those competencies cannot be realized from where you sit. So, strategic leadership for sustainability transformation, systems thinking, and organizational change management. This is a discipline. Whenever change is more often painful, even if it leads to is leading to a very good outcome that we see. How do you manage the expectations? How do you manage the pain points? How do you shift the organizational thinking to where you want it to be? And that's why this is embedded here in sustainability leadership programming. Stakeholder engagement, none of our organizations sit in isolation. So, how do you not only move the organization, but you set the expectations for the stakeholders who interact with your organization, whether those be funders, whether those be customers, whether those be internal stakeholders? How do you manage and lead that engagement and collaborate around those spheres of influence? And again, that intersectionality that we just heard about, leading across sectors for sustainability and not for SDG achievement, and sustainability for legacy building. So that in the environment in which we sit, all of our environments are porous. You not only move your company or your institution ahead, but you move everyone that you're interacting with ahead in this area as well. Career pathways, sustainability directors and leaders, change management consultants with a particular focus, specialization in sustainability. What you're going to be exposed here, the concepts and the frameworks and the knowledge, the skills are portable to other disciplines or other areas, but that you, as a change management specialist, consultant, you have a specialization in sustainability, working for NGOs or other social or as other social enterprises within other social enterprises. And we're seeing this developing in the space, government sustainability officers. So again, holding in the public sector, all of the agencies in the public sector to account as well. This one available again at the three options. So that is a look at all 5 programs that we do have available for entry at this point. And I am going to move on now to how do you get into this? How do you get in? Again, recognizing who our targets are, recognizing you. There are three main pathways here. One is the traditional academic pathway. You have an honors degree. For some of the programs like public health, that honors degree has to be in particular areas because of the background that you need to have. And you get access to that information that's on our website, that's in many of the brochures and the marketing materials that's gone out. And you have an honors degree, you are eligible for consideration for entry to at the master's level to the programming or at that level to the programming. What happens if you don't have an honors degree? You have an undergraduate degree, but it's not an honors degree. Then we want you to have some work experience, preferably in the area that you're passionate about. So it is your undergraduate degree and 2 years work experience. Now we know for some of the fields you have certified in the field and their professional qualifications that are not an undergraduate degree, but they're professional qualifications or technical qualifications and certifications that give you the similar academic rigor for your area. So we also want to see that and 2 years experience that would be relevant to your area of interest. So that is those with that typical academic background, whether it be a traditional academic degree, so that's path one. Path two is where you have the professional certifications, which are recognized in your professional and or technical certifications recognizable in the field that we can evaluate, and 2 years working experience, that's path two. And now we're going to talk about path three. Many of you may have actually into the world of work right out of secondary school and progress in the organization or progress in your career path, having gone into school without formal undergraduate certification. We recognize your prior learning and your experience, and we value that. So we've developed a pathway for you as well. If you have 5 years, at least 5 years management experience, preferably in the area that you want to study, that you're interested in pursuing with us, we want you to submit your application as well so that we can have a holistic view of you. Your pathway, especially if you have never had that dedicated time to academic studies, whether it was for a traditional degree or whether it's for an undergrad, regular or undergraduate degree or professional certification in your area, we want to expose you to what that looks like. So the pathway for those of you who are in that category, in that third pathway, we assess you and then invite you to do a postgraduate course, what we call a qualifying course. And then gaining entry through our stackable credentials, through the postgrad certificate, diploma, up to the master's. So those are the three pathways. So multiple entry pathways. I've broken it down into three. Regular academic, whether it's an honors degree or past degree. You have technical or professional certifications, or you have some exposure, but you don't have full qualifications. You have the management experience. You're senior within your organization, and it's now time to certify. We want you to send in your full, all of you should, but you send in your full resume so we can see the whole picture of you, your entire pathway, your entire background. We want to see your entire background. For non-native English speakers, you also need to supply evidence of English proficiency. The programming is in English, and two professional academic references are what's going to be needed to be considered for admission. So these again are the 5 programs that are available for admission at this point up to February 15th. And how to apply. The application form is online, so you can look at our website. Then we're going to put a direct link. Pamela and team, we're going to send that link out to complete the application form. You pay your there is an application fee. There is an application fee of a non-refundable application fee of US $15. And then you go through the remaining steps, all of which are going to be laid out for you. We need to ensure that you are who you say you are. So we have partnered with Qualification Check, and you're going to be submitting to them the requirements to verify your identity. And if you have not graduated from the University of the West Indies, we want you to upload your transcripts and other certifications to Qualification Check so that they can validate your certification. So that is done. Now, having done the identity check and any interaction that you have with Qualification Check is yours. A digital wallet is created that you have access to. So if you need to have your identity verified for any other services, you've already done it. Qualification Check is well known, and you can submit that to whatever service you need through which you need to verify your identity. So we don't hold it at the ISDJ. You are doing that, and that becomes part of your assets, your digital assets or your digital records that you can use whenever you need to use them. For those particularly on that third pathway with the experience but not the qualifications, there may be a requirement for an interview. We want to have a conversation. We may need to have a conversation with you, give you an opportunity to present yourself. Sometimes we can't tell everything from your CV or your resume. We want to have a conversation with you and plot your pathway with us. Once you submit everything, so your application is only complete when you have submitted all the supporting documents required and have done the verification or the verification checks and you're qualifying your qualifications check, the checking, the validating your qualifications. Once all of that is done, then a decision can you be receiving a receipt of a decision between 3 to 4 weeks after submitting your complete application, which includes the supporting documents. So now the slide that I know all of you may have been asking for, I haven't been checking the chat. The investment, what is this investment going to be? We have deliberately worked very hard to keep these fees accessible. So if you are applying for direct entry to the master, if you're gaining direct entry to the master's programs, that is going to be US $10,000 for the complete program. This is at the postgrad diploma level, is going to be $7,500 for the complete program. And at the program certificate postgraduate, not program, postgraduate certificate level is going to be $3,500 for the complete program. This is in addition to the university fees. So there are university registration fees that will be and ID fees and so on, but this is the cost of the program itself. Now, remember, we talked about flexibility and being stackable. So if you start at the postgrad certificate level and you want to ladder up, you say, okay, yes, I can manage this. I want to ladder up now to the diploma. If you are now seeking entry to the diploma, you will top up your 35. The difference then will be $4,500 to move from certificate to diploma. If you're at the certificate level and you want to move up to the master's, you gain entry to the master's, your top up is going to be US 9,000. And if you are at the diploma level, remember it's stackable. So you're going to ladder up from the diploma to the master's, then your top up will be $4,500. Again, all this information available on our website. Important dates for you for this round. I'll talk about the next round in a moment, but for this round is that our application deadline for this round for consideration for sessions beginning March 9th is February 15th. So we're closing this round of applications on February 15th. For sessions to begin, of that this academic session to begin on March 9th. Okay, so engage with us. Have conversations for us. Are you ready to transform your career? Are you ready to make that next step? Do you have questions that you are? I hope we've excited you with our offerings and so on. Do you have further questions? Have a discussion with us. The QR code gives you direct access to our website, our email. You can also interact with us via our email address, admissions.isdj@ue.edu. Talk with us. Now, I anticipate that there is going to be a question, or Pamela, you want to feed any questions that we may have? I'm not seeing any opening the Q&A.
Hi, Sonia. So I have had a couple of questions, but they were more for the person's specific application. So I have addressed those with the individuals. One person was, one of the questions came up is, I've applied on the portal. What's my next step? So the next step would be one, to pay your application fee. You would receive an acknowledgement receipt of your application that gives you the link, the Figaro link to make that payment. And then following that, you would then go to QC to do your upload of your application, your qualifications. So those are your next two steps after you have made your portal application. I'll place the portal link in the chat so you can make your application, and I will place ISDJ's email address for our admissions. If you have any questions as it relates to your admissions, your application process, you can always reach out to us and we will respond to you. So I'm
Okay.
placing that link, applications.isdj@uwi.edu in the chat. Any questions that you may have relative to today's session, you can always send to us, and we will reach out to you at our earliest time to respond. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask while we have the floor open before we close the session today? Anyone has a question, you can raise your hand and we will allow you to make have your question answered.
Okay. So while we are waiting for that, so we're going to wrap up in the next 3 minutes or so. Again, the how to apply and the next steps on your screen. So your application is not complete until you have done 1 through 5. That is applying, sending in all the information that is required through that application link, paying that application fee, completing your verification, ID verification. If you are a non-UE graduate, you're uploading your transcripts and other certifications to qualification checks so that your transcript can be validated. We also want to see your resume for we also want to see your resume for especially for those who don't have an honors degree and are being considered under one of the other pathways. And for there's one thing here, you will also see that you need to submit to give your referees an email address. Again, when you apply, you're going to be getting all of that information, but the references, and it's available on our website as well, the references get sent directly to us. So they don't get sent to you and you just pass them on to us. The references, the two references get sent to us. I'm just going to go back a slide. Yeah, these two references get sent to directly to us. So your referees will be emailing us directly, and your application is then complete once you have done steps well, sorry, I should say application is complete 1 through 4, 5 if necessary, depending on your background, and then that decision received 3 to 4 weeks after your complete application is received. Thank you for the engagement in the chat, Allison. I noticed that we reach out to you to make sure that anything else that you need is done so that we can get your complete application. So I know Pamela and the team will be reaching out to you. So thank you for engaging. And for all of you who took,
Sonia, we have
yes,
I'm asking Dwayne to give Nika speaking privilege. She has I'm not sure if Nika is a male or female, for the name, has a question. So Dwayne, if you could.
Hi, good morning.
hi, good morning.
And Nika.
Hi. Hi. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for this session. I'm interested in the sustainability and data analytics masters, right? But I just want to know if it's necessary to have a background in data analytics. I'm kind of using this as an opportunity to pivot into another area of sustainability. Right now, I'm in communications. I'm a sustainability and communications assistant. So I want to know if I need that background knowledge.
No, no, they're going to start you. It's going to be a rigorous program, so you don't need to have that coding, that computer science background to get into to be considered for the program. That program does have coding in it because that's one of the questions we often get. So you are
Mhm.
going to but they're going to start you slowly and ramp you up almost immediately. Yeah. I'm not deterring you from it, but no, you don't have to have that computer science background to be considered for sustainability and data analytics.
Okay, great. And just one other question. When you were going through the application process, you said if you were a UE student, you don't have to upload your your
Verification.
transcripts.
Right.
Is
So,
it only specific to UE Cave Hill students or just
no,
UE?
UE.
UE. We are one
Okay,
UE. So once you graduated from the UWI, we pull your transcripts.
all
Doesn't
right,
matter where
okay,
you are, from which campus you graduated. Because actually, you don't graduate from a campus, you graduate from the UE.
The
So it
UE.
doesn't
yeah.
matter which campus you had attended, we will pull your transcript.
Okay, great. That's it. Thank you so much.
You
So the
are
only thing you would have to
welcome.
do is do your ID verification at QC, Nika, sorry.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Mhm.
So thanks
Wonderful.
again.
You're
You're
very
most
welcome. Thank you for joining us. Any other questions? Allison, we're going to come back to you. Nikita, are you good?
My mouse is playing with me. This is the slide I want up. Yep.
Okay. Yes, I'm okay. Great. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you for joining us. Sonia, as always, you have been thorough in your explanations, and we want to thank you once again for as you are Chief Academic Officer, you are for sure on the ball. Cheryl, thank you for joining us. Dr. Slowly, sorry, thank you for joining us. Dwayne, and to our attendees, thank you so very much. We look forward to receiving your completed applications, and we are hoping that we'll be able to welcome you March 9th to our campus, to our school. So thank you once again. Any discussion about payment plans? Unfortunately, at this time, we do not have those, but we will come back to you about that. We've noted that lots of individuals have asked about the payment plans and the payment options, i.e. grants or scholarships. At this time, we do not have those, but we will endeavor to have an internal discussion to see how we can accommodate the many requests that we've had. So we'll come back to you with that. But currently, their payments are due at registration. They're just about before or at registration. So thank you once again. You have our email addresses. If you need to reach out with any other questions or queries you may have, we'll be more than willing to assist you. Thank you for joining us, and you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week. We have one more session on Friday, so if there are other persons who you know would have benefit from this session, please share the link with them that they may join us on Friday, same time, same place. So we can interact and share with you as best we can. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day.